How's it going, guys? I'm back. I'm making this video because I believe the government has declared war on the public, on its own people. And if you don't believe that, then I believe you're sadly mistaken. You have different types of agencies that are coming after people that are pro-Constitution, and if they can't kill them, then they will either tax them to death or have some other agency come after them and do some other stuff. You know, it's pretty sad, but that's really what's going on. And anybody that's also against big government is in for a rude awakening. Now, I've always said file discovery in the beginning before arraignment, because that's what I would do. And it seems like that's out the window because you really won't get discovery. Now, I made another channel talking about how I have certain weapons and certain ammunition in case I have some of these criminals come into my home and try to do something. Why I have certain ammo that will go through a car. Why I have ammo that, unless a criminal has a type 3 vest, a level 3 vest, it's gonna go through them like butter. Now, I had posted that video and a link to my other channel, and unfortunately I took it down because I believed only those that were paying attention would see it right away, and for those that just didn't have time or didn't see it right away, weren't really paying attention and probably didn't care. That was my thinking. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I digress. The point is, since I believe that, I made another channel and started talking about that stuff. And I was told by some people that what I'm saying is true, but of course a lot of people don't understand that that this is happening right now. And the reason why I think they don't understand that is because they don't read. They live life and they think it's all about them, and they don't pay attention to what's going on around them. Now, if they have kids or grandkids, I would think that would give them some type of motivation to start paying attention, but not everybody's like that. Now, the reason why I said that if you file for discovery and you try to get discovery, that's out the window, is because this talks about how they hide certain types of discovery even from the judges and prosecutors, especially even the public pretenders or even a pro se litigant. It's pretty scary, but this article exposes how the government, our government, is working with other governments to bypass the Constitution and do these illegal wiretaps through the FISA court, which is unconstitutional. I don't care what they say. They can say it's not, but it is. And they are listening to everybody's conversation, folks. So if you have a phone, it's tapped. If you have a computer, it's tapped, so to speak. If you have a TV, it might be tapped. It's pretty scary, it's pretty sad, but that's the reality of it. If they want to come after you, they're going to get as much information as they can off of you or from you, and use it against you, which is becoming a lot easier for the government ever since they are basically sidestepping the Fourth Amendment. Without getting warrant, they can still come and tap your phone or bug your computer. And another thing came out where they're even using hacker techniques, or even using hackers to install bugs in your phone so they can turn on and off your mic to record you and listen to your conversations. Or even if you're not on the phone, they can watch you now, or even on your laptop. I mean, they've been doing this forever. But I digress once again. Now, it says right here, U.S. directs agents to cover up program used to investigate Americans. That's right, you read that right. Not terrorists, not jihadists, not Al-Qaedians, but Americans. Washington Reuters. A secretive U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration unit is funneling information from intelligence intercepts, wiretaps, informants, and a massive database of telephone records to authorities across the nation to help them launch see, this is the main key here, folks. To help them launch criminal investigations of Americans. See, they'll mix the truth and then cover it up with some lies. That's how they do it. So their main focus is to help other agencies launch criminal investigations on you, the people. Whether they are warranted or not, that's a different story. Although these cases rarely involve national security issues. Now you can tell that's a lie right there. Because everything supposedly is a national security issue nowadays, right? Oh, we can't talk about that, the national security. So see, it says although these cases rarely involve national security, but I bet you we find out if this happened to somebody, and we go ask for open records request. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't talk about that. There's national security. So in reality, I'm being facetious here. I know it doesn't involve national security issues, but you know they're going to say it does if they're pressed for that information. Documents reviewed by Reuters show that law enforcement agents, not federal agents, just law enforcement agents, have been directed to conceal how such investigations truly begin, not only from the defense lawyers but also sometimes from prosecutors and judges. And most likely that's because the judge is already biased against you. He's playing with them, with the prosecutor. And so, you know, God forbid if you get an honest judge, and so let's just hide the information from him or her as well. The undated documents show that federal agents are trained. Now, see, once again, now it's saying it's only federal agents, but no, it's law enforcement across the board, across the country, and different agencies as well. It just simply stated that up here. It says right here, the undated documents show that federal agents are trained to recreate the investigative trail to effectively cover up where the information originated, a practice that some experts say violates a defendant's constitutional right to a fair trial. If defendants don't know how an investigation began, they cannot know to ask to review potential sources of exculpatory evidence, information that could reveal entrapment, mistakes, or biased witnesses. That's right, biased witnesses. That would be one of the main reasons why we have that. Because what if it's just the NSA saying, hey, that guy believes in the Constitution, he's been flagged, let's go after him. Yeah, officer so-and-so, this guy over here, he is a pedophile, can you go look at his computer? So they go and talk to the guy and say, hey, do you mind if we look at your computer? Of course the guy doesn't realize what's going on and says, sure, why not? I have nothing to hide. But instead of finding some kind of child pornography, they find something else that could potentially be a crime, because nowadays it's a crime to do pretty much anything. And that's how they get them. And of course all they got to do is say, oh, well, we were just walking by the house and we thought we heard something and we said, hey, can we talk to you? So it says, I have never heard of anything like this at all, said Nancy Gertner, a Harvard Law School professor who served as a federal judge from 1994 to 2011. Gertner and other legal experts said the program sounds more troubling than recent disclosures that the National Security Agency has been collecting domestic telephone records or phone records. The NSA effort is geared towards stopping terrorists. The DEA program targets common criminals, primarily drug dealers. It is one thing to create special rules for national security, which is unconstitutional, Gertner said. Ordinary crime is entirely different. It sounds like they are phoning up investigations. Now, it doesn't sound like they're phoning up investigations. They are phoning up investigations. So, the phoning up of investigations has been done pretty sure for decades, if anything. But the Special Operations Division, the unit of the DA that distributes the information, is called the Special Operations Division, or SOD. 24 partner agencies comprise the unit, including the FBI, surprise, surprise, the CIA, surprise, surprise, the NSA, okay, that's a given, and the IRS, and the Department of Homeland Security. I read that wrong. So it's FBI, CIA, NSA, IRS, and the Department of Homeland Security. So aren't these the same agencies that are committing crimes across the board? I mean, I don't know. FBI was doing what, Was that the gun runners and the CIA, the drug runners, the NSA, the wiretapping against the Constitution, violating Fourth Amendments, and the IRS also just going after people that were pro-Constitution and against big government? And now we got the Department of Homeland Security. I mean, they're the ones buying the ammo ready to kill Americans? Just my take on it. I don't know, I could be wrong. It was created in 1994 to combat Latin American drug cartels and has grown from several dozen employees to several hundred, maybe several thousand, really. Today, much of the SOD's work is classified, of course, and officials ask that its precise location in Virginia not be revealed. The documents reviewed by Reuters are marked law enforcement sensitive, a government categorization that is meant to keep them confidential. Remember that the utilization of SOD cannot be revealed or discussed in any investigative function a document presented to agents read. The document specifically directs agents to omit the SOD's involvement from investigative reports, affidavits, discussions with prosecutors, and courtroom testimony. Agents are instructed to then use normal investigative techniques to recreate the information provided by SOD. A spokesman with the Department of Justice, which oversees the DEA, declined to comment, but two senior DEA officials defended the program and said trying to recreate an investigative trail is not only legal, but a technique that is used almost daily. Yeah, of course, it's normal. We're stupid cops. We don't know what the hell we're talking about. Oh, DEAs, yeah, we know it all. When in fact, basically, what they most likely do, as a matter of fact, it probably says it right here, a former federal agent in the northeastern United States who received such tips from SOD described the process. You'd be told only be at a certain truck stop at a certain time and look for a certain vehicle. And so we'd alert the state police to find an excuse to stop that vehicle and then have a drug dog search it, the agent said. So in other words, think about this. This is my take on it. You have the NSA listening to your conversation. Doesn't like you for whatever reason. Even though this is DEA, it just simply said that it talks to and sends this information to all law enforcement agencies. Not just DEA. See, that's the cover right there. It's making it look like it's only one agency, but in fact, oh, it's okay. They're only going after drug dealers. No. That's not how it works, folks. They're going after everybody. Then the cop, instead of saying, oh, I got this tip, is going to say, oh, well, you didn't have your blinker. Oh, yeah, I did. I did put my blinker on. Or you were speeding. I wasn't speeding. Oh, well, just get out of the car. Sound familiar? And maybe this is why when they maybe get bad information from the NSA, or maybe just to scare the cops into shooting someone, maybe that's why they shot so many people that were unarmed, and that's why they were so jittery, because they had information that maybe was wrong, and so when they saw a person, they were ready for a fight, when in fact there was no fight, and oh, one less person that is pro-Constitution, or whatever the case may be. Now, I'm not saying there's not drug dealers out there and all this and that. It's called the government. Come on, they don't like competition. Let's be realistic. FBI running the damn guns. You got our CIA running the drugs. How dare you think you can do that? I mean, we have the satellites. You don't. We can hear you. You can't hear us. Parallel construction. It gets even worse. After an arrest was made, agents then pretended that their investigation began with the traffic stop, not with SOD tip. No, not with NSA or SOD, which is basically NSA, because NSA is already getting a bad rap. So most likely, 9 times out of 10, this is NSA. Without the, I'm gonna just take out the SOD. I'm gonna put NSA tip. Let's just be realistic here. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that's exactly what it is. I don't have facts. I'm just, from all the evidence it just points to, and I mean, it said it up there, it was NSA, FBI, and other stuff. That's the agencies it comprised of. So I'm just going to pick NSA, because that's the only one that I know that is doing the wiretaps right now. It says, after an arrest was made, agents then pretended that their investigation began with a traffic stop, not with the NSA's tip. The former agent said, the training document reviewed by Reuters refers to this process as parallel construction. The two senior DEA officials who spoke on behalf of the agency, but only on condition of anonymity, said the process is kept secret to protect sources and investigative methods. Parallel construction is a law enforcement technique we use every day, one official said. It's decades old, a bedrock concept. There you go, decades old. A dozen current or former federal agents interviewed by Reuters confirmed that they had used parallel construction during their careers. Most defended the practice. Some said they understood why those outside law enforcement might be concerned. Just like laundering money, you work it backwards to make it clean, said Finn Salander, a DEA agent from 1991 to 2008, and now a member of a group called Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, which advocates legalizing and regulating narcotics. I doubt it. It's not going to happen. The government wants it to be more expensive. Some defense lawyers and former prosecutors said that using parallel construction may be legal to establish probable cause for an arrest, but they said employing the practice as a means of disguising how an investigation began does violate pretrial discovery rules by burying evidence that could prove useful to criminal defendants. Right. Like, for example, what if an NSA person just didn't like somebody because they saw a picture or something, I don't know how they get their information, and say, oh, I don't like him because he's black, because he's white, because it's a man, because it's a woman. Who knows? What if they're just pissed and say, you know what, screw it, just let me pick somebody. Of course, they're going to say, no, there are many different types of ways to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah, well, Snowden proved that that's not true and that you guys don't even need a court order. You guys can just pick and choose who you want depending on the email or number that you get. Now, it says a question of constitutionality. That's outrageous, said Tampa attorney James Feldman, a vice chairman of the criminal justice section of the American Bar Association. It strikes me as indefensible. Of course it's indefensible. You don't know who the hell is even coming after you, and since they covered up, nobody came after you. It was just your fault because you didn't make a left turn, you didn't turn on your left turn signal, or maybe you were going too fast, or maybe you were going too slow, or maybe you just were at your house and we overheard you screaming with your wife or spouse, and so we had to knock in the door, or maybe we had to make sure you were okay because your door was cracked open. I mean, they can come up with a million excuses. It's not just you driving down the road, folks. Okay, they want you to think that that's the only way because it's supposedly only for drug dealers. But it just simply stated in the beginning is against Americans. How to start a criminal charge against Americans. So this means war. Lawrence Lusberg, a New Jersey defense lawyer, said any systematic government effort to conceal the circumstances under which cases begin would not only be alarming, but pretty blatantly unconstitutional. But of course we already know that the government is unconstitutional, especially with what they're doing now, and anybody that speaks against it is gone after. Lusberg and others said the government's use of the SOD or NSA program skirts established court procedures by which judges privately examine sensitive information such as an informant's identity or classified evidence to determine whether the information is relevant to the defense. So in other words, folks, they're saying we already have crooked judges. Think about this. There's already crooked judges all over who help the DA. But just in case they might be honest, what happens is that they just won't tell the judge that there was an informant. And we'll just start saying that you were speeding. Or we'll just say that the officer smelled weed passing your door, passing your house. He thought he saw somebody inside screaming for help, and so he went and knocked on the door, make sure everything's okay. When in fact it was just you, nobody there. So whatever the scenario may be, they're now making it seem like they had a reason to be there, they had a reason to stop you, they had a reason to knock on your door, they had a reason to talk to you, when in fact they didn't. But that's because they want to cover up the fact that the NSA or Assad or any other agency gave them information that might not even be true. These officers are going off of information that cannot be verified. Think about that. That's pretty scary. So of course this, if there was if they didn't do that, let's just say that they did say there was an informant, well, now this judge or any judge gets to examine if the information is going to be useful for the defense. But they don't want to risk that, so they'll just skip that part and say no, there's nobody here. You can't game the system, said former federal prosecutor Henry E. Hockheimer Jr. You can't create this subterfuge. These are drug crimes. No, see, now they're backpedaling here. But he's basically saying, yeah, they're drug crimes, they're not national security cases, and you don't draw a line here. Where do you draw it? But see, he's making it seem like it's just drug crimes. See, it's not anything bigger. It's just drug. No, it's not just drug crimes. It can be any crime. They said it in the beginning. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to reread this. It says, you can't create this subterfuge. These, I'm going to take out drug crimes. These are simple crimes, not national security cases. If you don't draw the line here, where do you draw it? He's right in that sense, the way I read it at least. Some lawyers say there can be legitimate reasons for not revealing sources. Yeah, Like they don't want to get caught. They're wiretapping you, and they legally got the information, so you can do a motion to suppress. Oops. Robert Spoke, a former prosecutor who spent 7 years as a senior DEA lawyer, said some sources are classified, but he also said that there are a few reasons why unclassified evidence should be concealed at trial. It's a balancing act that they've been doing this way for years, Spoke said. Do I think it's a good way to do it? No, because now I'm a defense lawyer. I see how difficult it is to challenge. Yeah, you can't challenge it, you fool. Stupid. Concealing a tip. One current federal prosecutor learned how agents were using saw tips after a drug agent misled him, the prosecutor told Reuters. In a Florida drug case he was handling, the prosecutor said a DEA agent told him the investigation of a U.S. citizen began with a tip from an informant. When the prosecutor pressed for more information, he said a DEA supervisor intervened and revealed that the tip had actually come through the SOD and from an NSA intercept. You see, so SOD is getting their stuff from NSA, folks. NSA is the main agency giving out their information to everybody. Everybody's tapped. Everybody's tapped, and if you're not with them, you're against them, and they're going to eventually come after you. That's just how it works. The prosecutor said, I was pissed. Lying about where the information came from is a bad start if you're trying to comply with the law, because it can lead to all kinds of problems with discovery and candor to the court. The prosecutor never filed charges in this case because he lost confidence in the investigation, he said. A senior DEA official said he was not aware of the case, but said the agent should not have misled the prosecutor. In other words, he should have lied better and made it so that the prosecutor wouldn't have known. How often such misdirection occurs is unknown, even to the government. Because it's them doing it, so they don't know what they're doing. Alright. The DEA official said the agency does not track what happens with the tips after the SOD sends them to agents in the field. Right. So we're gonna believe. So we're supposed to believe an agency that lies about what happens before, that they don't track these alleged criminals or these targets. Basically, it's like we're Al Qaeda now. We're the terrorists now, because it's like, oh, they don't track the targets after SOD sends the agents to the field. Right, yeah, so we're not going to believe what they're saying, obviously, because I highly doubt that's the case. If they can lie about the beginning, they can lie about the end. The SOD's role providing information to agents itself isn't itself a secret. It is briefly mentioned by the DEA in budget documents, albeit without any reference to how that information is used or represented when cases go to court. The DEA has long publicly touted the SOD's role in multi-jurisdictional and international investigations connecting agents in separate cities who may be unwittingly investigating the same target and making sure undercover agents don't accidentally try to arrest each other. In other words, if they actually get somebody that's on the inside, and I'm not talking about undercover agents, I mean somebody that really is dirty, oh, we can just have them back off. Yeah, it's happened before. Now it talks about their SOD's big success, which I'm going to skip because it's propaganda. Today the SOD offers at least 3 services to federal, state, and local law enforcement agents. You see, SOD is a front for the NSA. That's really what it is. But they're making it seem like it's not. It says coordinating international investigations such as the Bao case, distributing tips from overseas, NSA intercepts. There it is right there. Informants, foreign law enforcement partners, and domestic wiretaps, and circulating tips from a massive database known as DICE. The DICE database contains about 1 billion records, the senior DEA official said. The majority of the records consist of phone log and internet data gathered legally by the DEA through subpoenas, arrest, and search warrants nationwide. But see, I'm going to stop there. That's what I think they're trying to cover as well. That's not true. Folks, the internet is bugged, is rigged. Okay, NSA knows everything about everything. If you're Facebook, that's been known. That's known that's to be made by the NSA. So let's not even go there. But the internet itself, okay, there's no hiding, basically. Now, so I think that's what they're trying to hide here, because this is the majority of the records consist of phone log and internet data gathered legally by the DA through subpoenas, arrests, and search warrants nationwide. I doubt that. 9 times out of 10, if they're already getting information from NSA just by a phone call, I'm sure that they're getting also screenshots and other stuff that's from the internet as well, but they're trying to cover that up as well, because then people would be even more pissed. Records are kept for about 1 year and then purged, the DA official said. Right, because now we're barely finding about this, so all the other stuff that's been over a year has already been purged. About 10,000 federal, state, and local law enforcement agents have access to the DICE database, records show. So keep that in mind. 10,000 federal, state, and local law enforcement agents have access to DICE. They can query it to try to link otherwise disparate clues. Recently, one of the DA officials said DICE linked a man who tried to smuggle 100,000 over the U.S. southwest border to a major drug case on the East Coast. We use it to connect the dots, the official said. An amazing tool. Wiretap tips forwarded by the NSA, usually come from foreign governments. Okay? So, here's my question, folks. Why is this government, our government, allowing foreign governments to wiretap us? That's just a question. U.S. intelligence agencies or court-authorized domestic phone recordings, because warrantless eavesdropping on Americans is illegal, not for NSA, obviously. Tips from intelligence agencies are generally not forwarded to the SOD until a caller's citizenship can be verified, according to one senior law enforcement official and one former U.S. military intelligence analyst. In other words, they already have the information, they've already recorded it, they already have everything they need. They just want to verify, oh, is it an American, so we can backpedal and reconstruct this. Yeah, that's basically what they're saying. They do a pretty good job of screening, but it can be a struggle, you know, to know for sure whether the person on a wiretap is American, the senior law enforcement official said. Tips from domestic wiretaps typically occur when agents use information gleaned from a court-ordered wiretap in one case to start a second investigation. How do they, see, this is, no, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. There's no court orders, just tapped by NSA. As a practical matter, think about this. So they're going to go and they're going to say, well, we got NSA giving us this information. Instead of having NSA just do it just without any problems, yeah, we're going to get a court order. That we have to provide some kind of excuse or reasoning as to why we're even going to get a court order. We have no probable cause. So if they have no probable cause, how are they going to start this court order, warrant? It's just, unless they're just signing it away for no reason, then again. But I doubt they're going to do that. That's dumb. It says right here, as a practical matter, law enforcement agents said they usually don't worry about that SOD's involvement will be exposed in court. That's because most drug trafficking, they're trying to state it's only for drug trafficking. Defendants plead guilty before trial and therefore never request to see the evidence against them. If cases did go to trial, current and former agents said charges were sometimes dropped to avoid the risk of exposing SOD involvement. So, anyways, it says current and former federal agents said SOD tips aren't always helpful. One estimated their accuracy at 60%. But current and former agents said tips have enabled them to catch drug smugglers who might have gotten away. It was an amazing tool, said one recently retired federal agent. Our big fear was that it wouldn't stay secret. Oh, it didn't stay secret. It's out now. DEA officials said that the SOD process has been reviewed internally. Oh, thank God for that. They declined to provide Reuters, however, with a copy of their most recent review. I'm not surprised. So, folks, this is troubling. Let me know what you think, if the government has declared war on us or not, or maybe it's just the agencies that have declared war on us. I'll put a link up. Thanks for watching.